few weeks ago, I received the chuck from Underdog Audio and fairly quickly made a video on sharing my first impressions, what I liked and what I thought could be improved. As you all know, opinions are always subjective, but my job here isn't to give you my personal take, it's to reflect honestly on the strengths and the flaws of any product I'm sending, whether I'm getting paid for it or not. That doesn't and wouldn't change what I say in the video, the payment. Now, I totally get that this kind of honesty can be tough, especially for a relatively new company. It's not easy to put your passion into something and then hear criticism about it. Even if that criticism is well-intentioned and respectfully worded, it can still sting, and I know that. And yes, I did point out a few things that needed some work in the chuck, but after the video I had a fantastic conversation with, I hope I can say the name, Michael from Underdog. We discussed everything and it was such a positive and constructive exchange. What really stood out was how open he was to the feedback. No ego, just two people exchanging ideas, kind of, you know, eye to eye level. And a lot has happened since that call. So today I want to go back over my original points and reflect whether they still hold up, if they've been addressed, or if they've stayed the same. Back then, I mentioned a slight lag when switching presets. Hold your horses. The lag is still there, but it's been noticeably reduced. Definitely a step in the right direction. What's even cooler is that with the latest firmware update, there's now something called the dependent mode when using the chuck in the edit mode. Sounds complicated, I know. From what I understand, this mode lets you build scenes within the edit mode and switch between the channels based on the gain staging you've set up. So now you have basically three ways to control the chuck: edit in independent, edit in dependent, and the classic preset mode. That's a huge leap in flexibility. Plus, in the dependent mode, now you have the advantage to switch the amps without any lag. So what you basically could do is save 7 pre-made presets and then go into the preset and use these presets within the preset in the edit dependent mode. This way you would have 7 rigs, let's call it rigs, and within the rig you could work in the edit dependent mode, so you switch around the gain staging. I think you get the point, right? And that's a huge leap in flexibility. Another thing I talked about was how the tap tempo felt hard to access. Thanks to the update, you can tap tempo in right on the device using the delay switch. And if you want to turn off the delay effect, just hold the button for 2 seconds. Michael also appreciated my suggestion about having the option to switch between global or preset-based tempos. Alright, in the last video I played a little bit dumber that I'm actually on purpose. Does it work? Just to see if anyone would call me out for not knowing how to load IRs into the chuck. And yes, you absolutely can load your own IRs via the software. It's super simple once you open the menu. I show you how. One thing's worth clarifying: the stock IRs in the chuck are actually tailored to match the gain staged amp models. So they aren't random, they are intentionally voiced to work with the amps. To all the reviewers, and I did that wrong as well in the last video, please don't go through the amp models without adjusting the dedicated IRs. The next one is a tricky one. I said in the original video that the Ottawa felt like a feature added just for the sake of having it. And to be honest, I still feel a little bit about that. Even though that the algorithm has been updated, the wah still feels like a bit of a misfit in the bigger picture of what the chuck is and of its greatness. You know, it's, you know, make chuck great again, stuff like that. But, and this is important, Michael told me they're working on the better solution for the wah. So stay tuned. Improvements are on the way. Now this is a part I'm really excited to revisit. In my last video, I offhandedly said equalizer controls the amp's lows, mids, highs and amp settings, whatever that is. Well, I get that now. The amp control simulates, and that's pretty smart, I gotta admit. The amp control simulates the power amp section of a real tube amp. That saturation and volume push and dynamic compression you get when you crank up a real tube amp, we all love it, and most modelers don't do that. They can't do that because they don't have a power amp. But the Tog can. At least it tries. It lets you dial in that turned up amp feeling without actually needing a power amp. It's not just the tone, it's the feel. And if you've ever missed that push and sag sensation when you play through the digital gear, the Tog might be exactly what you're looking for, because it can simulate the feel of the power amp. That's exactly what the amp knob does. Does that make sense? I hope so. But as always, sounds speak louder than words. Check out the audio example and see for yourself. The Tog has come a long way since I reviewed it the first time, at least for me. And what really impressed me is how quickly and openly Underdog Audio acted on the feedback. They didn't just listen, they responded, improved, and we had a great conversation. That kind of transparency and collaboration is rare, and it deserves recognition. So if you're looking for a pedalboard amp that can serve both on stage and in the studio with great tones, tons of flexibility, and a team behind that truly cares, the Tog is well worth your attention. Check their Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or wherever your favorite social media platform is. Thanks again to Underdog Audio for the great cooperation. Thank you. And with that, catch you in the next Hangout, and thanks again to Underdog Audio for the great cooperation. With that, catch you in the next Hangout, and thanks again to Underdog Audio for the great cooperation. Thank you.
And with that, catch you in the next Hangout, and thanks again to Underdog Audio for the great cooperation. Thank you. And with that.